Good.
Once there was a lad named Leaf. Now Leaf was a likable fellow and handsome to boot, but he never wanted to listen to anyone, and he always had to do things his own way. His father told him,
"My son, it's good to make up your own mind, but it's also good to know when others know more than you."
Now Leaf didn't want to hear that either, so he said,
"Father, I'm going out into the world where I can do things just as I like."
His father begged Leaf not to go, but the more he pleaded, the more Leaf was set on it. Finally, his father said,
"Your stubbornness is bound to land you in trouble, but at least take this piece of advice. Whatever you do, don't go work for the troll."
So where do you think Leaf went? Right to the troll. Leaf knocked on the door. Leaf knocked on the door, and the troll himself answered it. He was huge and a good deal uglier than anyone you'd care to meet.
"Pardon me, sir. I'm looking for work." "Are you now?"
And the troll said, feeling the boy's arm.
I could use a fellow like you.
The troll led him into the stable and said,
"I'm taking my goats to pasture. Since it's your first day, I won't ask much of you. Just shovel out all this dung." "Well, that's kind of you, sir. You're surely easy to please. But just one thing. Don't go looking through the rooms of the house, or you won't live to tell about it."
When the troll had gone, Leaf said to himself,
"Not look through the house? Why, that's just what I want to do."
So Leaf went through all the rooms till he came to the kitchen, and there, stirring a big iron pot, was the loveliest maiden he had ever seen.
"Good Lord, what are you doing here?" "I just got a job with the troll." "Then heaven help you get out of it. Weren't you warned about working here?" "I was, but I'm glad I came anyway. Else I never would have met you."
Well, the girl liked that answer, so they sat down to chat. They talked and talked and talked some more, and before the day was gone, he held her hand in his. Then the girl asked,
What did the troll tell you to do today?
"Something easy. I've only to clear the dung from the stable."
Easy to say, but if you use the pitchfork the ordinary way, 10 forkfuls will fly in for everyone you throw out. Now here's what you must do. Turn the pitchfork around and shovel with the handle. Then the dung will fly out by itself."
Leaf went out into the stable and took up the pitchfork. But he said to himself,
"That can't be true, what she told me."
and he shoveled the ordinary way. Within moments, he was up to his neck in dung.
I guess her way wouldn't hurt to try.
So he turned the pitchfork around and shoveled with the handle. In no time at all, the dung was all out, and the stable looked like he scrubbed it. As Lee started back to the house, the troll came up with the goats.
Is the stable clean?
Tight and tidy.
And he showed it to him.
You never figured this out for yourself. Have you been talking to my master maid? Master maid? Now what sort of thing might that be, sir? You'll find out soon enough.
The next morning, the troll was again to go off with his goats. He told Leaf,
Today I'll give you another easy job. Just go up to the hill, to the pasture, and fetch my stallion. Thank you, sir. That won't be any trouble. But mind you, stay out of the rooms of the house, or I'll make an end of you.
When the troll had gone off, Leaf went right to the kitchen and sat down again with the girl the troll had called Master Maid.
Didn't the troll threaten you about coming here?
He did, but he'll have to do worse to keep me away from you.
So they talked and talked and talked some more. Before the day was gone, he had his arms right around her. Then Master Maid asked,
What work did the troll give you today?
Nothing hard. I just have to fetch his stallion from the hillside.
Yes, but how will you manage? It'll charge at you, shooting flame from its mouth and nostrils. But here's how you do it. Take that bridle hanging by the door and hold it before you as you get near. Then the stallion will be tame as a pussycat.
So Leaf threw the bridle over his shoulders and went up the hill to the pasture.
That horse looks gentle enough.
And he started right over to it. As soon as the stallion saw him, it charged at him, shooting flames just as the mastermaid said. Barely in time, Leaf got the bridle of his shoulders and held it before him. The stallion stopped, as tame as you please, and Leaf bridled it and rode it back to the stable. On his way out, he met the troll coming home with the goats.
Did you bring home the stallion?
Safe and sound.
And he showed him.
You never figured this out for yourself. Have you been talking to my mastermaid?
Mastermaid? Didn't you mention that yesterday? I'd certainly like to know what it is.
All in good time.
The next morning, before the troll left with the goats, he said,
I want you to go to the mountain today and collect my tunnel tax from the fairies. All right, sir. I'm sure I can figure it out. But just keep out of the rooms of the house, or you won't make it through another day.
As soon as the troll had left, off went Leaf to the kitchen and once more sat down with the mastermaid.
Aren't you the least bit afraid of the troll?
I am, but not near as much as I'm in love with you.
So they talked and talked and talked some more. Before the day was gone, she gave him a nice big kiss. Then Mastermaid asked,
What are you to do for the troll today?
Something simple. I'm to go to the mountain and collect the tunnel tax for the fairies.
Simple if you know how. You're lucky I'm here to tell you. Take that club that's leaning against the wall and strike it against the mountain. The rock will open up and a fairy will ask you how much you want. Be sure to say, just as much as I can carry.
So Leaf took the club to the mountain and struck it against the side. The rock split wide open, and out came one of the fairies. Through the crack, Leaf could see piles and piles of silver, gold, and gems.
I've come for the troll's tunnel tax. How much do you want?
Asked the fairy. Now Leaf figured it better her to ask for extra than keep for himself. So he said,
As much as you can give me.
as soon as he said it, silver, gold, and gems came streaming out of the mountain and piled up around him. In a few moments, he was nearly buried, but the treasure kept coming.
I changed my mind, just as much as I can carry.
The pile of treasure flew back into the mountain, and the fairy handed him a sack.
Narrator 3.
Oh, as Leaf arrived back, he met the troll.
Did you collect my tax? Done and delivered.
He opened the sack, and silver, gold, and gems overflowed onto the ground.
You never figured this out for yourself. You've been talking to my mastermaid. Mastermaid? This is the third time you've spoken of it, sir. I wish I could see it for myself. It won't be long now.
The next morning, the troll brought Leaf to Mastermaid.
Cut him up and throw him in the stew, and wake me when he's done.
Then he lay down on the bench and started snoring. Mastermaid took a butcher knife down from the wall.
You wouldn't.
Don't be silly.
She pricked the tip of her little finger and squeezed 3 drops of blood onto the 3-legged stool. Then she put some old rags and shoe soles in the stew pot, along with the kitchen garbage and a couple of dead rats and some dung for good measure. Then she gathered the wooden comb, a lump of salt, and a flask of water.
Quick, we must flee while we can.
Are you sure we need to rush?
But Mastermaid pushed him out the door and over to the stable. They saddled 2 mares and rode away at full gallop. Meanwhile, the troll was stirring from his sleep. Without opening his eyes, he called,
Is he ready?
The first drop of blood answered in Master Maid's voice.
Tough as leather.
So the troll went back to sleep. A little later, the troll woke again and called.
Is he cooked?
The second drop of blood said.
Still chewy.
The troll went back to sleep. At last, the troll woke and called.
Isn't he done yet?
The third drop of blood said.
Tender and juicy.
Still half asleep, the troll stumbled over to the pot. He scooped up some stew in a wooden ladle and took a big mouthful. It was barely in his mouth when he sprayed it across the room.
That little witch.
Then his eyes grew wide.
She must have run off with the boy.
The troll raced to the stable and saddled on a stallion. Then he rode after him like a whirlwind, with the stallion breathing fire as he went. In a little while, Leaf looked behind and saw the troll chasing them.
We're done for.
But Master Maid threw the wooden fork over her shoulder and shouted,
Fork of wood, bless my soul, turn to trees and stop the troll.
The fork changed to a thick forest that blocked the troll's way. The troll said,
I know how to deal with this.
and he called out,
Forest chewer, curse her soul, chew the forest, help the troll.
The forest chewer appeared out of nowhere and devoured the trees, making a path for the troll's horse. Leaf looked back and again saw the troll.
We're lost.
But the Master Maid tossed the lump of salt behind her.
Lump of salt, bless my soul, grow to mountain, stop the troll.
The salt turned to a craggy mountain, and the troll again had to stop.
I know how to handle this too. Mountain cruncher, curse her soul, crunch the mountain, help the troll.
The mountain cruncher appeared and bored a tunnel straight through the mountain. Meanwhile, Leaf and Master Maid came to the sea, where they found a sailboat tied up. They left the horses, boarded the boat, and sailed for the far shore. They were halfway across when the troll rode up to the water.
I can take care of this as well. Water sucker, curse her soul, suck the water, help the troll.
The water sucker appeared and started drinking up the sea. Soon the boat was scraping bottom.
It's the end of us.
But Master Maid took out her flask.
Drop of water, bless my soul, fill the sea and stop the troll.
She poured overboard a single drop, and a drop of water filled the sea.
Drink it up, drink it up!
But not another drop could the water sucker drink. And Leaf and Master Maid landed safe on the other shore. It wasn't long then till Leaf and had Master Maid home, and not long again till they had a wedding. But when the minister asked Master Maid if she loved, honor, and obey, Leaf told him,
Never mind that. It's best if I obey her.
and he did, which is why they lived happily ever after. Yeah.